10 ways how to create wealth in your life faster than anyone else, because wealth is a mindset more than a goal. So understand these things with me and Sandeep Jethwani from Dezerv, and watch this episode till the end. So we're going to be discussing 10 steps, not 10 steps actually. Six. Not 6. I'll include 4. I can include 4.
Okay, that's
so we're going to be talking about 10 major points or 10 things which people should consider while creating wealth, or this is how you should go about. So you have a framework for it, and it's a create wealth. So if you want to create wealth, it starts with create.
Yeah,
right?
so create all caps.
Okay.
Because each of these letters stands for something.
Okay.
And I'll start with the first one.
Okay.
And would love to know what you think about some of the other things that you have on your mind. So C for me is compounding, right? And compounding to me is the biggest investment secret hiding in plain sight, right? Our brains, unfortunately, are wired to act on what we see in the last 3 days and not in the last 3 years. And that's what breaks compounding. But if you could compound our money, that would be one of the biggest things you could do to grow your wealth.
So you mean that quote is going on, no? Ki, like we overestimate what we can do in 1 year and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that?
Absolutely. And that is compounding. Because we don't realize when you're living that moment and you're doing the small incremental things, whether it's with your career, your life, or your money, that over time it'll add up to something really large.
Yeah. So I'll give you a second point.
Yeah.
Is I feel understanding yourself first is better than understanding market. So everyone who's like trying to make money, they all want to understand the market, which are the best returns, what are the best strategies, what are the best things.
Yes.
I think it starts with understanding yourself. Like how much are you making? What is your style? How much time can you put? What are your interest levels? What is your risk ability? Like just understanding yourself.
Yes.
More than before you even start thinking of understanding the market.
And therefore, what works for somebody else may not work for you because you are different people. Because one of the things we end up doing is asking other people, "Yaar, aajkal tu kya kar raha hai? Where are you investing?"
Yeah.
You know, and he or she might have a very different context.
Oh yes, and I've seen like things which has worked for me haven't worked for my friends, and like things which like didn't work for me worked for them. So
yeah,
it just,
absolutely.
And the same timeline.
Investing is very personal.
Very personal.
Yeah.
Okay. So second point, you were saying third point is.
So for me, it's R. It's rational investing, right? And I love this concept of the irrational monkey, the instant gratification monkey sitting in our head that makes us behave irrationally with our money. We end up like looking at what others are doing, not thinking long term, etc. So I think just being rational, calm about how you think about your money is very important to us. So that to me is like the second thing, which is rational investing.
So rational is being logical about what you're doing.
Being logical, being thought through, being cognizant, conscious, and not just rushing into things.
कि सब कमा रहे मैं भी कमा लेता हूँ. सब डाल रहे हैं इसमें मैं भी डाल देता हूँ.
हाँ सही होगा. तू भी कर ले भाई.
You know, like that's a funny saying. Like I keep telling my team that, you know what wins in the world is the thing which looks like it's winning. Right?
Yeah.
Like for a lot of people, and that's the worst way to think about your investments.
Yeah.
Like maybe a marketing product works like that, but investments don't.
Investments don't. It looks like it will work for some time, but then when it comes crashing down, then it comes down really badly.
So for me, the point number 4 is we all should have an investing plan before we have a spending plan. So for example, everybody is thinking about my salary is going to get credited at this day. I'll spend on this. I'll go buy clothes. I'll put my EMI in buying the car.
Yeah.
I'll go out and plan a vacation. Everybody has planned their spending way before they've even made the money.
Yeah.
What they should be doing is planning their investing, and then whatever is left and be their spending part.
Absolutely. I think because then you'll not spend on things which you don't really need.
Exactly.
Right.
Like because most of us, I mean, I have not met anyone till now who's not thinking about the vacation they want to take 2 years from now versus, and I have thought about, 2 years from now, if I'm going to get settled, this is what I need.
Yeah. I think buying something, getting a new piece of apparel or something is so, like, it's such a dopamine hit, right? Like, you feel good in that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that instant gratification again, right? You feel good right then, but you're foregoing potentially something that could have made money for you.
Money for you. That gets at to first point, your first point.
Yeah.
10 years versus instantly.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
fifth point.
I'll go with my third point, the
Yeah.
fifth point overall,
E.
which is E, which is excitement is your enemy.
Okay.
Right? A lot of times we end up investing in exciting concepts. Like, and I think making money and excitement are two very different things. And sometimes when we talk to people and they say that, yaar, kuch exciting batao. So we ask them, do you want entertainment or do you want returns? Right. And I think, and think
Nice.
about it, like
Nice.
half the time we are like in party conversations, we're asking each other, aajkal kya chal raha hai? What's interesting? What should we be doing? That's all seeking excitement, right?
Yeah, nice. तुम्हें entertainment करना है कि पैसे कमाने हैं. That's a good way to think about it.
Correct.
Yeah, because most of the investments which make you incremental wealth are boring.
Yes.
Right.
Real investing is very boring. Okay. Like if you look at Warren Buffett, there is a stock of Coca-Cola that he held for 40 years. I mean, who holds a stock for 40 years? And what, like, you turn up to work and say what? Like, I'm holding it now, I'll hold it for another 10 years, right? Yeah. It's not exciting, it's boring, but it made a lot of money for him.
Yeah, that makes, we all look at Coca-Cola kharida tha, but 40 saal pehle, that didn't pay attention. Okay, so the sixth point for me is that knowing where your money is going is equally important to knowing where your money is coming from. Most of the people focus on how can I make more? How can I learn more to make more? How can I get my promotion? How can I focus on my side hustles? Instead of also focusing about how much do I know about where my money is going?
Yeah.
Like what percentage is going to food? What percentage is going to rent? What percentage is going to my wants? What percent need? What entertainment?
Yeah.
Like people should have that. That would give them better clarity on how much do they need to make or how much do they need to cut on certain things.
Yeah, I think when you put real data out, you do a double take, right? You're like, oh, really? Have I spent so much money on ordering in? And that will only happen if you know where your money actually went, right? And that's when you can optimize. You can potentially cut down on some potentially bad habits that you have.
Yeah, like I mean, most people say, "अरे और कमा लूँगा तो बढ़िया हो जाएगा." नहीं, but if you're fundamentally flawed person, तो कितना भी कमा लो नहीं होने वाला because you keep increasing your expenses way faster than you increase your income generating capacity.
Absolutely. Very interesting. Makes a lot of sense.
So then now is A for you.
A is about act only when really necessary, right?
Okay.
So here's the thing, like, you know, back in the medieval times, early when we were in probably animals in forests, etc., we are trained to act, right? And if we wouldn't act, so we'd get eaten by a tiger or eaten by a bear or something like that, right? So our brains are wired to act. When it comes to investing, sometimes just not acting is okay. Like, you don't have to react to every situation. You don't have to do something about every new piece of information that you got. Right? Today, RBI raised interest rates. What should you do with your portfolio? Probably nothing. Right? And just like that sense of calm, that it's okay. You don't need to act. Not acting is also a decision. Right? And sometimes we feel that we are busier, we are smarter when we are doing something. Netflix and chill is probably the right thing to do.
No, it makes sense because every time the people who invest because of a lot of news and a lot of sentiment around them, they're always panicking about, oh, आज ये डाउन हो गया, आज वो डाउन हो गया, मार्केट गिर रहा है, ऐसा हो रहा है, वैसा हो रहा है, ये न्यूज़ आई, गवर्नमेंट ने ऐसा कर दिया, पॉलिटिक्स में, और and they keep like there's a constant need to, should I sell it, should I buy it, should I do this, and they keep acting.
And there's so much information overloads, right? All of us have gone and joined these Telegram, WhatsApp groups where we are getting bombarded with information which has nothing to do with our portfolio, with our portfolio, right? Then there is this social media, Twitter is abuzz with is company ka result aaya, iska ye hua. It doesn't matter, man. It's like you're investing in a stock, even if you're doing stock investing, you're investing in a stock for probably many years. So it doesn't matter what they did this quarter.
Fair. There's one more insight which is more on a mindset level, which I feel, which is the next point for me, the ninth point, is work to learn rather than work to earn. And I'll tell you why. Okay. Most of the people, when they want to increase their income, they're thinking about what are the top 10 skills I can learn to increase my income. What are the skills which will be highly paid in future?
Yeah.
मैं Excel सीख लेता हूँ, मैं sales सीख लेता हूँ, मैं tech सीख लेता हूँ. Like they're thinking about that. Instead of, so they're working towards something which is only going to help them earn more.
Yeah.
Probably that's a worst approach, because then you're only acquiring knowledge which is required, not which makes you an expert.
And you're not investing in yourself then.
Yeah. So then
Right.
technically you're not investing. You're going in with the concept of, ऐसा करने से ऐसा करेंगे. It's transactional.
Yeah.
And I feel when you work to learn, like you're going at a company or you're working at a startup or you're working on your skill, just to learn, like I'm really curious about knowing this thing and how this thing works. You don't realize how well you know about it, and your income or your income generating capacity depends on how well do you know about certain things versus how many high paying skills you know.
Yeah. I think that'll be a great business if somebody can give some gratification for learning at work, right? I think it'll be amazing. Like Salesforce did it, by the way. They introduced this concept called badges, right?
Okay.
Which is like if you like, they wanted more people to be aware on how to use Salesforce. So every time you learned one feature, you would get one badge. And suddenly they saw a spike in people figuring out how that platform works because everyone was accumulating badges.
Nice. What's a good insight? I think we could implement that in our organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Like incentivize learning.
Learn to earn. Like that's
exactly.
That's what Web3 is doing right now. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last point for you.
Two more actually. So T is for tolerance to downside. Like you need to understand how much loss you can handle before you go in and make an investment. Like figure out that how much drop can happen in this portfolio, and only if you can live with that should you actually make an investment. Because I've seen like the worst investment decisions are made by people when their portfolio is down because they can't handle it. I've seen the wealthiest of folks who've invested in equities, when they've lost a few crores, they will say, let's sell everything and I don't want to do equities again in my life. Right? I've made the mistake. I should have just stuck to debt. And at the very worst time in the market, they'll sell everything. Right? So understanding how much loss you can handle, I think, is a very important part of investing.
It's, I think, probably one of the biggest points which you should actually consider when you're investing.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's let's cover E for you as well. That's a bonus point.
Bonus point is expertise, right?
Okay.
When you get to high stake stuff, you need an expert. Now, either you can become an expert, so invest your time, learn how to invest, or leave it with an expert. Because I think that's really important. You're handling some really important stuff. A lot of your life decisions, choices in life, whom you marry, where you live, what you do, will be dependent on how much money you have. And therefore, this is really high stakes and you need an expert on your side.
I'll add to that point. Okay. So I was again reading a data which was done in US from 70s to 2008 before the crash happened. Okay. And the data was that 90%, more than 90% people who actively traded in the market ended up making less money than the index. Individually who were doing it. Okay. So it's always good to either give it to an expert who understands the market or you give it to an index, because anyway, your chances of actively making a lot of money is very less because you don't understand it fully because you're not an expert.
And this is true, right? Nitin of Zerodha also said this, that only 1% of traders make more money than FDs. Imagine he has this immense amount of data available.
Yeah.
Smartest traders are probably trading on the Zerodha platform. 99% of them are not making any money. So there.
So it's like if you are not an active active expert in something, rely on some expert.
Yeah.
Because that makes more sense.
And that's not a plug for Dezerv. I mean, find your own expert, but you need an expert with high stake stuff. It's like your health, right? You need a doctor. Don't go to WebMD.
Fair. Let me just put out one bonus point as well, because let's give people like a step. Tell me if it's wrong. So I feel if you want to create wealth, you just need 3 kinds of investments. One, to risk it all, so that you feel like there's some amount of it is like high risk, high reward. Hua to hua, nahi to angel investing, cryptos or whatever. Second, to play it a little safe, but in a growth investing, so that let's say equities, where you know that there's certain level of surety, but not 100%. So it's a play but safely.
Yeah.
And third is to cover your ass. That's an emergency.
Yeah.
So like 3 investments. So you just, if you cover and diversify your portfolio, or like allocate your capital into 3 different kind of investments as per where you are today, I think you can have like a lot of control of your life.
We have a similar thing going in how we think about money. First is protection. Like figure out the right amount of money that you need for emergency. Second is markets, like the right amount of money for participating in what's happening in the markets, which will grow, economy will grow, you will also grow. And third is aspiration, which is angel investing, the exciting stuff. And in this order, like first make sure that you have enough money for your protection.
What is the first?
Protection, markets, and aspiration.
Nice. That's a better framework. I'm stealing.
You said it better though.
I just explained it better. I'm stealing it from you. I'm stealing. So 1, 2. So my thing was 1 for adventure, 1 for playing, 1 for the game, and 1 to cover you.
Yeah.
Right. And the always.
Maybe I'll steal that one.
Nice. So that was a create framework.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for doing this.
No, really enjoyed this,
fun to
Raj.
have with you.
Incredible to be here.